Can. A world where your reality isn't quite solid, where what you believe, what you think you know, even what your eyes and ears tell you, isn't entirely under your control.
Hmm.
Picture unseen forces, maybe subtly orchestrating things, shaping what you perceive, and the mysteries you try to solve. Maybe they're just diversions, cleverly crafted distractions.
To keep you looking the wrong way.
Exactly. And what if, in all of this, your own mind is the real target?
That's a chilling thought to start with.
It really is. And that's where we're going today. We're doing a deep dive into how government secrecy, how sophisticated disinformation campaigns actively shape public perception, public knowledge.
Yeah, it's not just about hiding things. It's about actively building a different reality for people.
We'll look at historical examples, unexplained phenomena, some frankly disturbing experimental programs. We want to figure out how these tactics, designed to control the story, can actually end up controlling minds.
It's a journey, really. From gaslighting individuals, one person at a time, to manipulating mass media. We'll touch on consciousness experiments, the drug war's hidden history, and look ahead to future tech. Tech that could surveil and maybe even predict our thoughts.
So our mission today.
Our mission is to really unpack those mechanisms of control. Understand how it works, from the inside out. We're drawing on declassified documents, historical analyses, psychological insights, even philosophy and projections about surveillance tech.
And the sources we've gathered for this are pretty incredible. We've got unredacted government reports, deep dives into things like Project Blue Book, MKUltra.
Infamous stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But also Jungian psychology, the idea of hyperstition. We'll get into that in cutting-edge tech. Gorgon Stare, AI like Palantir, the Replicator Initiative. It's like looking at the hidden architecture of control.
Yeah, the scaffolding behind the reality we often take for granted.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with a specific, really compelling story. Paul Benowitz.
A crucial case study.
Absolutely. And it's important to understand who he was. He wasn't, some fringe character living in a bunker. Far from it. He was a highly successful electrical engineer, very patriotic, even an Air Force contractor.
A pillar of the community, really. Someone who trusted the system.
Exactly. But then, late 70s, early 80s, things started happening near his home, which was close to Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. He had sophisticated equipment, right?
For the art for the time, yeah.
And he starts accidentally filming these strange, fast-moving colored lights over the base. And not just that, his gear starts picking up unusual coded radio transmissions.
And his first thought wasn't aliens?
No, not at all. Being technical, he assumed it was experimental aircraft, secret military tests. His reaction was pure scientific curiosity. He wanted to report it, be a good citizen.
He thought he was helping, essentially, showing them something important he'd observed.
But what's fascinating, and this is where it all starts to go wrong for him, he wasn't just seeing weather balloons or misidentifying things.
No, he genuinely stumbled onto something huge. Two critical military secrets, actually. And this caused, sheer panic within the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, the OSI.
Okay, what were they?
First, and this was massive, especially during the Cold War, he found a way to patch into coded Air Force transmissions. He wasn't guessing. He was actually intercepting secure military comms, a huge vulnerability.
Wow. Okay, and the second?
His films? They were capturing classified experimental aircraft. We're talking likely early stealth technology, maybe advanced drones being tested right there at Kirtland.
Yeah.
Real top secret stuff.
So he accidentally blew the lid on two major secrets.
Precisely. And the military's panic wasn't about UFOs at this stage. It was about protecting tangible, incredibly sensitive technology and communication security he'd compromised.
So here's where it takes a really dark turn. Instead of just, classifying his findings or telling him to stop through official channels.
Which you might expect.
Right. The Air Force, specifically the OSI, led by an agent named Richard Doty, launched this systematic, incredibly insidious disinformation campaign against him. And we know the NSA was involved too.
It wasn't just one rogue agent. It was institutional.
Exactly. They started feeding Benowitz false stories, mixing them expertly with what he was actually seeing. Doty and others convinced him the lights weren't aircraft, they were hostile aliens.
They told him about underground alien bases beneath Kirtland.
Yes, and even worse, that these aliens were implanting mind-controlling chips into people, including him.
Directly playing on his observations, but twisting them into something terrifying and completely fabricated.
And to make this fake reality stick, they used some pretty advanced PSYOP tactics. The NSA apparently beamed fake alien transmissions right into his house.
Imagine that. Hearing alien messages in your living room, seemingly confirming everything you're being told.
It's terrifying. They even swapped his computer, gave him one that was rigged, so when he tried to decode the signals they were sending him, he'd get the exact alien story they wanted him to believe.
A completely tailored, personalized false reality, built just for him, designed to hijack his mind.
So why? Why go to such extreme lengths? Obviously, diverting him from the real secrets was key.
That was the primary goal, yes. Get him chasing alien ghosts instead of noticing stealth planes and unsecured comms. But there was a bigger picture, according to the sources.
Was.
To infiltrate the broader UFO community, flood it with disinformation, sow confusion, and, crucially, make anyone seriously interested in UFOs look ridiculous.
Make them seem unsociable or nuts, as the documents sometimes put it.
Exactly. Marginalize the whole field of inquiry. And there was another layer, too. It served as an observation. How does someone react to this level of manipulation? What works, what doesn't? Data gathering for future operations.
The human costs, though.
Yeah.
It's just devastating. Benowitz was patriotic, curious, and they rewarded him with lies, betrayal.
His mental health just deteriorated rapidly. It was a direct result of this psychological onslaught.
His family eventually had to put him in a psychiatric facility. He truly believed aliens were coming through his walls at night, injecting him, making him drive into the desert with no memory.
It's horrific. This campaign literally destroyed his life, shortened it, left him sick and tormented for years until he died, a direct consequence of calculated deception.
So you listen to this, and you have to ask, what does this mean for us? If they could do this to one person, this systematic psychological destruction, could they do it to anybody?
And to achieve anything? That's the really chilling question, isn't it? How vulnerable are our own minds, our own realities, to a determined, well-resourced effort to shape what we believe?
Okay, so let's zoom out from Benowitz's individual tragedy. Let's look at how this kind of perception management works on a larger scale. We need to go back to 1952.
The Washington, D.C. sightings. A major flap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Widespread UFO sightings, especially over the Capitol, caused genuine public panic. But the military and intelligence communities, their main worry wasn't little green men.
No, it was much more practical. Their communication lines were getting totally jammed. UFO reports flooding in from everywhere, pilots, citizens, radar operators.
And the fear was
That a real threat like a Soviet bomber attack, remember this is peak Cold War, could get lost in the noise, dismissed as just more UFO nonsense. They needed to control the narrative, regain control of their comms.
which leads us to the Robertson panel in 1953.
A really pivotal moment. Headed by H.P. Robertson, a respected physicist, but also a key CIA consultant, that CIA link is important.
So what did they recommend? Because this really shaped things for decades.
Their recommendations basically set the government's UFO policy for 70 years. The explicit goal wasn't to find out what UFOs were, but to strip the unidentified flying objects of the special status they have been given and the aura of mystery they have unfortunately acquired.
Take the mystery away. Debunk it.
Essentially, yes. They proposed an integrated program using mass media, TV, movies, articles to reassure the public of the total lack of evidence of inimical forces and, importantly, to reduce public gullibility, which they feared could be exploited by hostile propaganda.
Control the story, manage public perception.
Precisely. It was about narrative management, not scientific investigation.
And the strategy worked, didn't it? Insidiously well.
Oh, absolutely. By pushing the whole UFO topic firmly into the realm of entertainment, sci-fi, pop culture, they effectively inoculated the public against taking it too seriously.
The message became, serious people don't talk about this.
Right. The only people who care about UFOs are losers, conspiracy nuts, just plain crazy. It created a powerful social stigma. If you stayed curious, if you dug deeper.
You're just another Paul Benowitz.
Exactly. Ripe for ridicule, career suicide, maybe. It wasn't just about hiding data. It shaped what was considered reasonable to even think about.
Okay, so from controlling perceptions of external things like UFOs, let's pivot to something even more disturbing. The direct manipulation of our internal reality, our consciousness.
This brings us to Project MKUltra. Infamous for good reason.
Top secret CIA program. Ran from the early 50s to the early 70s. And its goals, now declassified, are just terrifying.
You weren't subtle about it in the internal document.
No. Learning how to control and even reprogram people's minds. Creating Manchurian candidates people programmed to act, maybe even assassinate, without memory or conscience.
And developing ways to literally remove true memories and replace them with false memories in a human subject without their knowledge.
It's the stuff of nightmares. This wasn't just about secrets. It was an attack on the very core of human identity and autonomy.
And the methods. They were brutal. Unethical doesn't even begin to cover it. They used powerful drugs, mainly LSD, on people who had no idea, unwitting subjects.
Civilians, soldiers, prisoners, psychiatric patients, vulnerable people.
Yes. One notorious part was Operation Midnight Climax. CIA safe houses set up like brothels or hippie pads in places like San Francisco. People were lured there, secretly dosed with LSD, and then observed through two-way mirrors.
So watching the effects.
Studying behavior, suggestibility, and incredibly, these operations are how LSD really got introduced into American society. Its roots are tangled up in this mind control program.
The human cost, again, was horrific. And then there was the cover-up.
Massive cover-up. The case of Airman Jimmy Shaver, who committed a murder he couldn't remember after experimental treatment, is often cited as a potential tragic outcome of these techniques.
And we'll likely never know the full extent.
Because a massive number of files were deliberately destroyed by the people in charge, like CIO Director Richard Helms, a calculated act to prevent discovery, to dodge accountability.
Which just fuels more distrust, doesn't it? This vicious cycle of secrecy. People hear fragments, they know files were destroyed, and they start to believe anything is possible, that maybe they were victims.
Exactly. It creates fertile ground for paranoia and further erodes any faith in institutions.
And this connects to the broader drug war narrative too, right?
Absolutely. There's a deep-seated prejudice in Western thought against knowledge gained through drugs, especially psychedelics, experiences from meditation, valued, experiences from ayahuasca, historically dismissed or pathologized.
And this held back research.
Arguably, yes. It held back the Western development of understanding consciousness. Then psychedelics burst onto the scene in the late 50s, partly because of Cultura, and they were quickly made illegal.
Shutting down scientific research for decades.
Right, officially because of the trouble and distress they caused, but viewed through this lens of control. Was it also about deliberately shutting down avenues of consciousness exploration, preventing people from having experiences that might challenge official narratives or offer inconvenient insights?
Controlling not just information, but the very tools we might use to understand our own minds.
So let's talk about those experiences themselves. What actually happens on psychedelics like DMT, LSD, ayahuasca?
Well, reports consistently mention increased suggestibility, attention turning inward, often a flood of unconscious material coming up, and the visuals. Incredibly complex.
Geometric patterns, right. Symmetrical textures, fractals.
Yeah, things melting, shifting colors, a sense of time and space dissolving, and sometimes encounters, entities, like Terence McKenna talking about the machine elves made of light and language.
Beings that seemed intelligent, communicative within that internal space.
Exactly, suggesting a kind of structured alternate reality accessible through these states.
And neurologically, the brain scans are wild. The usual hierarchy seems to dissolve. The whole brain becomes hyperconnected, integrated.
And you mentioned brain waves reversing.
Yeah, the dominant waves literally start traveling backward. It's a profound shift from processing external sensory input to generating reality internally. There are models like circle inversion trying to explain this geometrically.
Like flipping a switch.
Sort of. Imagine consciousness normally points outward, perceiving the world. In these states, it flips inward, generating the perceived reality from internal data thoughts, memories, archetypes, but still with a coherent, almost mathematical structure. It suggests consciousness is an active, geometrically defined process.
Okay, so if these states reveal so much about how our minds construct reality and make us more suggestible, how can they be weaponized?
Well, we saw it with Benowitz, right? The fake alien transmissions were essentially weaponized psychedelic messaging, tailored to his existing beliefs and fears driving him mad.
It's not just science fiction.
Yeah.
Even nature might do it. Plants evolving chemicals that cause visions of demons to scare off predators.
Exactly. And Carl Jung talked about this too with his idea of projection. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate.
Meaning, if we don't understand our unconscious biases and patterns,
they project onto the world, shaping our reality without us realizing it. We see the world as a reflection of our own unknown inner face, leading to illusions, isolation. The ego is vulnerable to these unconscious factors.
So if reality is partly constructed by our minds, controlling the inputs to those minds, Information, suggestion, drugs, maybe even targeted energy fields like those fake transmissions becomes the ultimate way to control perceived reality itself.
Fundamentally.
This leads us to a really mind-bending concept, hyperstition.
Ah, yes, hyperstition. It goes beyond just fake news or propaganda.
Way beyond. It's described as a self-fulfilling prophecy on steroids. An idea, a story that's so potent it doesn't just predict the future, it actively creates it.
It sort of hacks our rational minds, bypasses critical thought, and starts reshaping the physical world or social world to match its own narrative.
Some call it weaponized language that can literally speak a new reality into existence. It's not just twisting facts, it's building the reality framework itself.
And there are contemporary examples. Our sources mention Project 2025.
Right. Described not just as policies, but a plan to literally rewrite the source code of the federal government. The explicit goal, ideological alignment.
Not just at the top, but throughout the entire bureaucracy. It's about constructing a new reality of how government functions, what it values, who runs it, and manifesting that through sheer narrative force that then guides actions, appointments, everything.
It's reality shaping on a massive scale. Which brings up a crucial question. If hyperstition is a tool for control, can it also be used for resistance?
That's a fascinating angle. Dung again offers insight. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate.
So if we don't consciously examine the powerful narrative shaping us,
They become our destiny. We're swept along. But Jung argued that achieving inner unity, acknowledging our own contradictions, our shadow, is key to resisting mass-mindedness.
becoming aware of the stories running us.
Yes. And historically, art, shamanism, they often aim to destroy the idols of the tribe, dissolve those rigid conceptual boundaries, make us confront the bigger picture where mind and world intertwine. It suggests that conscious inner work is a form of resistance, allowing us to choose our reality rather than having it imposed by hyperstitional forces.
Taking back control of the narrative, starting from within.
So, who are the architects behind these curtains? This brings us to the deep state.
Not necessarily a smoky back room, right? More like a network.
Exactly. Persistent, unaccountable, hidden layers. Unelected officials, military figures, contractors, powerful entities. Their influence comes from control over information, often operating outside democratic checks and balances.
They decide what gets released, what gets withheld, how it's spun.
Precisely. Pushing their agenda subtly, or sometimes not so subtly. And this isn't new, it's a historical pattern of power operating behind the scenes.
What's really disturbing is how dark triad traits seem to pop up in these operations. We're talking manipulation, narcissism, psychopathy.
A lack of empathy, self-interest above all, disregard for truth, willingness to exploit.
Look at Benowitz. Total manipulation, zero empathy for his suffering, truth disregarded for strategic goals.
Or the FBI's COINTELPRO, surveillance of critics like Lenin, blackmailing Martin Luther King Jr. to try and force him out of the civil rights movement.
Infiltrating activist groups, even pushing them towards violence to discredit them.
And the MKUltra file destruction, a calculated, almost psychopathic move to dodge accountability for horrific acts.
Even more recently, using the no-fly list to coerce Muslim Americans into becoming informants. It's manipulation without conscience.
These aren't just policy disagreements. They reflect a mindset willing to control and exploit ruthlessly.
So what's the long-term damage of all this deep state maneuvering, these dark traits in action?
The cumulative effect is a profound erosion of public trust. It creates what our sources call a fractured hall of mirrors with a quicksand floor.
Nobody knows what's true anymore.
Everyone becomes suspicious of everyone else's motives. Government, media, even neighbors. This deep cynicism is a direct result of these operations, and it fuels that vicious cycle of secrecy. Plausible deniability allows for more reckless behavior, which further destroys trust. We end up lost in uncertainty.
Okay, let's look ahead. Because the ability to monitor and manipulate, it's about to get turbocharged by new technology. Starting with Gorgon Stare.
Not sci-fi. This is real. Deployed wide area motion imagery, WAMA-IM. Omnipresent aerial surveillance. It can watch an entire city continuously. It solves the old soda straw problem camera seeing only one small spot. Gorgon Stare records the whole thing all the time.
So operators can rewind.
Exactly. Rewind the footage for hours, days even, track people, vehicles, see where they came from, where they went after an event. A perfect digital record of movement.
And it connects with other sensors.
Oh, yeah. It can cross-cue, link up with high-res cameras for close-ups, listening devices, cell phone trackers, painting a complete picture, an all-seeing view of the ground.
And AI is involved already.
Yes. AI analyzes the data stream automatically, looking for suspicious activity, patterns, potential threats. It's heading towards that minority report scenario, predicting and preventing things before they happen.
And it's been used covertly.
Alarmingly, yes. Like in Baltimore, where a similar system flew for ages without public or even official city knowledge, funded privately to avoid disclosure rules. Huge privacy implications. Chilling effects. It's here.
Now imagine feeding all that Gorgon stare data, plus everything else, into a powerful AI like Palantir.
That AI becomes the central nervous system of the whole surveillance network. It ingests everything. Gorgon stare video, movement patterns, CCTV footage, social media, comms data, financial records. The works.
Connecting all the dots.
At incredible scale, it does data fusion, merging disparate sources into one unified real-time picture. Then, advanced analytics and pattern recognition kick in.
Going beyond simple tracking.
Far beyond. Identifying complex patterns, emerging threats, hidden organizational structures, shifts in public sentiment, even pre-criminal behavior based on subtle indicators across massive data sets.
And predicting future actions.
That's the key. Predictive capabilities to anticipate unrest, dissent, individual actions. This algorithmic logic makes evasion incredibly difficult, almost powerless. The system tracks, analyzes, predicts, moving towards automated decision-making, automated response.
Which brings us to the Replicator Initiative. What's that?
That's the DoD's big push to rapidly develop and deploy cutting-edge tech, focusing on autonomous systems. Agility, adaptability, the goal is fielding attritable autonomous systems.
Meaning cheap enough to deploy in huge numbers, lose some, and keep going.
Basically, yes. Leveraging commercial tech, getting autonomous drones, sensors, maybe even weapons out there fast and at scale, speed and volume are key.
So you put it all together. Gorgon stares all-seeing eye, Palantir-like AI predicting behavior, and Replicator providing swarms of autonomous responders.
You get a highly advanced, automated, and pervasive system of surveillance, data analysis, and rapid response. The potential for total control is staggering. Privacy erosion is almost total. It's real-time reality shaping through tech.
A fundamental shift.
Absolutely. It changes defense strategy, global competition. But it also raises profound questions about freedom when you live under a constant, predictive, automated gaze. Just knowing it's there changes how you think and act.
And this isn't science fiction anymore. This is the trajectory we're on. Could this be the ultimate control, where consciousness itself is leveled down, managed, predicted, making real autonomy just a memory?
A deeply uncomfortable possibility to contemplate. Hashtag tag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today. From Paul Benowitz's personal nightmare, that deliberate alien gaslighting designed to shatter his reality,
A truly chilling starting point.
to projectum culture's direct assault on consciousness, trying to reprogram minds and erase memories. Then grappling with hyperstition, the idea that powerful stories can literally create reality.
Both as a tool for control and perhaps resistance.
And finally, peering into the future, or maybe the present, of automated surveillance. Gorgon stare, predictive AI, the Replicator Initiative, creating this potential for pervasive automated control. The common thread, the immense power of shaping information to shape perception itself.
Which underscores more than ever the need for critical thinking, for individual awareness. The Robertson panel wanted to reduce public gullibility to control them. We need to reduce gullibility to empower ourselves.
Keep questioning.
Absolutely. There's always more to learn. Seek out different perspectives. That's crucial insulation against manipulation. Critical thinking isn't just academic, it's a survival skill in this information age.
So we leave you with that Jungian thought again. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate.
In a world where powerful narratives and predictive algorithms increasingly tell us what's reasonable, what's safe, what the future holds, how do we cultivate that inner unity? How do we consciously resist mass-mindedness?
What will it take to really question the stories shaping our world? To demand transparency from those operating in the shadows, those architects of perception?
Keep asking those questions. Stay curious. Dig deeper into the forces, seen and unseen, shaping our reality and our minds.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.